Hi everybody, I'm Matt Jordan from Jordan Fabrics, but right now I'm at my son James's house and I just noticed these flowers right here. I was talking to James. These remind me of some fabrics that I just got in from Hoffman Fabrics, some beautiful batiks, which are very natural looking, and these colors remind me of those. I think I'll get back to the shop and cut something out of those right now. Okay everyone, let's go on into the workroom now and get started on our cutting. These are the fabrics I was talking about that I think resemble the flowers that we were looking at. And so I picked these, which are gorgeous. They're from Hoffman Fabrics, beautiful batiks. And then to pop these off the pattern, I thought I would use these neutrals here, which are also from Hoffman Fabrics, just a gorgeous neutral tones. The pattern that I'm doing today is one Donna wrote years ago, and it's free on our website. And if you'd like to follow along, you could download this. I'm going to label all of my fabrics because it makes it so much easier for me to cut and keep track of what I'm doing. So the first cut is 30.5 inches, and I'm going to cut that piece to exactly 14.5 inches. I'm just following Donna's pattern, but I'm going to make twice as many blocks. But you can see her first dark side cut, big side, was 14.5 inches, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I've labeled all the materials with the sizes I'm going to cut them. I'm going to put them in the cutting area and get started. So I'm folding this in half and I'm going to split it, which is an easy way to do it. And the reason I do that is now the number that this one will be is 12.5 inches cut. And you can see I've got the 12.5 inches easy in here, so I'll iron this and then I'll cut it exactly to 12.5. The rough cutting is done, and I'm going to iron the pieces up for some exact cutting. As I iron, I find that the batik fabrics, in general, take a little more ironing. They tend to be a little more wrinkled, and you've got to be careful and watch for that. I like all the patterns, but this is one of my favorites. Now that I'm looking, I think this one is really nice too. I have this all ironed up now, and we are ready to begin cutting. This is a big ruler. I think they use these to cut matting for pictures. I think they call it matting to border the pictures. It's looking good. That my first cut is 14.5. What we call the big piece on the dark side around here. I'm going to spin this mat, and I'm going to set this piece here. And I'm going to set a few more on top of this before I cut it. The reason I stack more layers on is it's easy for me to cut it, but you can stack as many or as few as you like. Whatever you're comfortable with in terms of stacking layers and cutting. The key thing you want is accuracy. I'll lay this up here, and then I've got all my folded edges on this side, and now I'm going to cut this to the size. It's 2.5 inch strips. You don't need this big measuring stick to do this. You could use something like this very easily. You would just cut smaller sections. I'm cutting a long section, so I'm just going to use this long one today. But I use a small one all the time. You can see there's the start of what we're doing. All right, so these are our largest dark strips right now, and I'm going to stack them, and I'm going to cut all the dark fabrics to 2.5-inch strips with their various sizes, and the light side gets cut 1.5 inch widths on the strips, and I'll be cutting those later too. I have some of the sets cut out now, and this is all the pieces we need to have Eva sew a block for us. Eva has been working with Donna for over 30 years. She's an excellent sewer, and I'm sure she'll love to get started on this project. Let's go in the shop. We've got the blocks done, so there's a few different layouts we can try. So let's get started with that. The first layout I'm going to try is something that I call centered blocks. There's probably a name for it. Maybe you guys could help me. Maybe it's called diamonds, I'm not sure. But I enjoy this pattern here. So if I move that up to the center, and then I'm going to repeat that pattern. So I'm going to grab 4 more. I'll know as I go. This is going to be a 24 block pattern, and this design will just continue all the way down. So now we have these particular blocks shaped into the curvy log cabin, which gets its name from the kind of round shape that this takes here. A traditional look, but with a kind of little modern twist to it. And now I think we will design something with just 12 blocks. All right, so now this is a 12 block layout. One of the reasons I really enjoy working with the log cabin pattern is the way you can format the blocks into different designs. This is called cornrows, I believe, and in this curvy log cabin, this is just amazing to see this little jet of light here to a larger dark. Yeah, the log cabin is, you guys probably know, is my favorite. I cut my curvy log cabin from yardage, but maybe you have a jelly roll sitting around that you would like to try to cut a curvy log cabin with. Well, Donna made a video about 5 years ago, and I think I'll play that if you'd like to see it.
I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today we're going to make a curvy log cabin, and we're going to make it from a jelly roll. Now, a traditional log cabin has strips that are all the same width, and they're built around a center square in kind of a spiral pattern. A curvy log cabin has strips that are different widths, and that's what's going to give the appearance of the curves. Once the blocks are done, we can lay them out in different manners to get different curvy looks. Now, I've worked out all the numbers for the pattern, and I've got them all sketched out here, but you don't have to worry about remembering all of this. We will have a free pattern. It'll be the first link right below the video. Just click that and you can print it off and follow along. So the blocks we are making are going to have a light side and a dark side. The dark side is all going to come from the jelly roll strips, and the light side is all going to come from yardage. So we're going to need 2 yards of a light, and we're going to need 32 jelly roll strips. Now we do want to make sure that we have enough contrast between our strips, our dark strips here, and the light side. So some of these strips are too light, so I'm going to pull those out and not use them. We only need 32, so we could actually pull out 8 of these really light ones, and we'll set those aside. I may use those for binding, or I may use them in another project. Now here's what we're going to do to subcut all of these strips. I've separated the strips into 2 piles. I've got 16 here and 16 here. So for this stack, I'm going to open up each strip, and I'm going to cut 12 and a half, 9 and a half, 6 and a half, 3 and a half, and 2 and a half. Then for this stack, I'm going to open them up and get this, 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 and this. So then I'll have 16 of each size piece that we need. There's all the different dark prints cut to size. The next thing to do is to cut the light pieces. So we are going to cut some 1.5 inch strips, the width of the fabric. I need 25 of those strips. Now these strips are also going to get subcut, but you're going to be able to keep them all folded. There's a lot of different sizes here, so if you're going to make this at home, you're definitely going to want to print off the free pattern before you cut. Now that all the pieces are cut out, all we need is 1 of every piece to make our first block. Now we'll start with the center square and the first 2 lights. So this will go on here, and then that will fit on there exactly. And I like to press all of the seams away from the center. So I'm just going to finger press it just a little bit. Now this piece is going to fit exactly on there. So we'll get that guy stitched on, and again, finger press away from the center. Now the next pieces that are going to go on are the next 2 darks. So those are going to go on there and there. And again, every time you add a piece, the next piece is going to fit on just exactly the right size. Now I'm going to add the next 2 lights. You can start to see the patchwork building bigger and bigger here. Now we're ready for the next 2 darks. So you can see I'm just going to keep adding 2 lights, 2 darks, 2 lights, 2 darks, till I get all of the pieces onto the block. So I'm coming up here on my very last dark piece, which will be right here. And the blocks just build quite rapidly, very satisfying to make, and I don't iron any of the pieces until I get the whole block done. It's actually easier to iron it once all the patchwork is stitched together. So now you're starting to see here the dark patchwork curving a little. So I'm going to go ahead and make all of the other blocks and get them all ironed nice and flat. I have all 16 blocks done, and now comes the fun part. We get to lay these out, and there's a lot of options for laying these blocks out. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be kind of a serpentine pattern. Now you can see this pattern wavering through. So we've got 2 wavy lines going through, and because that patchwork is big and small, it gives a nice curvy look. Now this option has 4 big circles, and that's very pleasing too. It's nice and balanced. Now for the next option, I only have to change 4 of the blocks. So these 4 here, if I just flip them around, we're going to get a completely different pattern. So this makes the pattern have a central motif right in the middle. Now this layout still has a central pattern, but now we've got a secondary pattern that shows up those big white star-shaped things. So I think I'm going to go with this one. Now, I like this one a little better than all the others, but I liked all of them. I really had a hard time deciding which way to lay out the blocks. So I'd like to hear which one you like the best. So leave a comment below and let me know which layout was your favorite. Now that the quilt is on the machine, I get to pick a thread color. I really thought I was going to use the solid cream because I don't want the quilting to show much in this area here. And the cream, it's not going to show at all, and it's not going to show very much in the colored sections. I was thinking that the quilt was pink the whole time I was sewing it, but now that it's all together, it's really kind of a coral color. It's not a true pink, it's more of an orangey color. So that one matches perfectly. It shows up a little bit in the light area. This is another option. It's pretty pale, it doesn't show up much. Now the actual pink thread, that one barely shows there, and it's not going to show in the dark areas also, so I'm going to go with the pink. For the quilting pattern, I'm going to use the paisley feather. It looks almost like flower petals there, and I love the paisley in it, and there's paisleys in the prints that are in the quilt, so this one will be just perfect. Now that the quilt is done, you can really see those curves in it. So happy with how it turned out. Now I used a whole jelly roll for the quilt. I used 32 strips in the patchwork, and then the 8 I had left over, I used those on the binding. So if you're going to use your extras for binding, cut them in half so you get a smaller piece of each one. That will look really good. The quilting, it just shows up as nice little shadowing there. And I love all of these seams. Using just one fabric here really gives a nice, cool look. On the back, this is not from the same collection as the top prints. So these are a Moda Rue 1800 from Three Sisters. And this is from Riley Blake. It's called Bliss, but it coordinates. So I will often use a backing fabric that has nothing to do with the top, something from a different collection. So really fun to make, really easy. I honestly made this in about a day and a half. Now, if you want to make a bigger quilt, it's pretty easy because each block took the equivalent of 2 jelly roll strips. So if you want to use 2 jelly rolls with 80 strips, you can make a lot more blocks. Then you have more options for turning the blocks around and getting nice secondary patterns. Thanks for watching our tutorial today on how to make the curvy log cabin from a jelly roll. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, we're going to have another giveaway.
We are giving away a quilt today, but not the one that Donna was giving away. Obviously, she gave that away 5 years ago. This is the one we're giving away today. It's made with Robert Kaufman fabrics, gold metallic. It's called King's Crown. It's one of the ones that we pre-cut here. I think it's very beautiful. To win this quilt, go to the link below the video that says giveaway, put in your name and email address, and you're entered. Good luck. If you like our videos and you would like to support us, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our YouTube station. Happy quilting.